It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Jane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Oahe Federal Credit Union, and Edward Jones Financial. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. From the KCCR studios in Pierre, KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you inside the KCCR studios for a Coach's Corner night. After a 2-week break with the Major League Baseball playoffs, we're back to Coach's Corner. We will have baseball again after Coach's Corner tonight, but we'll talk about that at the end of the show. We've got on the way, we'll talk plenty of football. Head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, head coach Tom Moore, the Solebu's Chargers, and Max Voth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. We'll also talk with Kerry Wheelhouse, the head coach of the Pierre Governor volleyball team, as they get set for a Thursday matchup at home against Yankton as we get into the final couple weeks of the fall season, of regular season for these sports, with a couple more sports ending at the end of next week as well. But we're talking with those coaches later on here in this program. We will return and we'll talk with head coach of the Pierre Governor, Steve Steele, next. You listen to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governors. Coach, you got a big win on Friday against Sturgis and able to put that losing skid behind you guys. The breath of fresh air, maybe it didn't bring fresh air. It was just, business as usual. But being able to get that win going in the last two games of the season, how big was that on Friday?
It's important, and I think the biggest part is just to know that you can get it done again, and to win a close football game. You face adversity in every game, but to be able to fight through it and find a way to get the win is just an important thing. That's a Sturgis team that's been a good team, and they were fighting for a win the same as we are, needing to get back on the right track. And so, it's two kind of teams that were both trying to do the same thing, and, it was really good to know that we could come out on top.
Cooper Twilliger got back in the game for the first time since his shoulder injury, caught three passes, 2 for touchdowns, almost had 100 yards receiving in those 3 catches. Just how important he is to the team itself as a great player as he is, but also just a security for the rest of the guys that saying, hey, Cooper's back in. The offense just feels better with him in the game. Yeah,
I mean, it was just one of those things where he was a spark. We've been looking for that spark the last couple weeks to figure out what's going to really get us going, and he came in and was able to provide that. So we're thankful that we was able to get cleared and be able to play that game, and we're excited to have him back on offense now.
And then now going through this week of practice, getting set for Friday's game, how much he is utilized in practice, how much that kind of opens different things up for you guys. How much is he, or makes you feel better too, that he's cleared, played well on Friday, and that you want to see that keep moving forward this week?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little challenging just because he wasn't able to practice a whole bunch. Obviously, he was kind of a limited practice guy all week. So, this week having a little bit more of a full practice routine under him will give us a little bit more of an idea. But, we're just excited to have him back out there. I mean, again, the mood and everything is just a little bit different when, a leader like he is comes back into the game and comes back into the fold and is available. So I think that, he's really close to being full go as far as offense goes. He won't be able to play defense right now, but at the same point in time, it's still, he's going to bring a lot of value back to this team from that position, and hopefully give Caleb a little bit more security in his mind of knowing that he's got another option.
And then, Carter Templeton hit that field goal in the game on Friday. And, the offense that is trying to really find its way still as we get to the final couple games of the season. And you get into field goal range now, and obviously it's not the same NFL field goal range or college football field goal range, but the fact that he didn't just make the field goal, he drilled the field goal that he had hit, that it kind of maybe gives a little bit of a relief to the offense, or a little bit of confidence that, hey, we can still get points even if we don't get in the end zone. We can be a little bit more free. We don't have to be tense in the red zone because we have to score a touchdown. We got a guy that can put points on the board as long as we get into that spot.
Yeah, that was a really good kick and a big kick at the time. We ended up winning the game by that kick. So a very important one, but it was really good. He's got a lot of potential. For just being a freshman especially, that kid, the sky's the limit with him right now. And a lot of that is just being able to get more reps. We've got to do a better job of getting them the reps as an offense. But, I think that was a big one. And then, even his other kick from the other hash that was about 15, 20 yards deeper had the distance. And it was just a little wide, So, I think that he's showing and making good strides as the year's gone on. With soccer being done now, he's able to get full practices, where he can just kind of get a lot more reps and a little bit more variety into his practice routine that, when you're only able to go for 15 to 20 minutes, you're kind of just hitting the essentials. So, I think we'll see even bigger gains with him here the coming weeks.
And that defense got back in a step, just 2 possessions where Sturgis scored, one being that first possession at halftime, and buckled down and got the big stop at the end of the game as well for the Governors to make sure that could take the victory formation snaps. How big that confidence is for the Governor defense to say, hey, only 2 possessions out of the 10 or 12 possessions overall in that game. That was the only 2 that we gave up.
Yeah, there's got to be so much credit given to our defensive staff. They've done a phenomenal job continually retooling the defense, when you've had injuries. Obviously Cooper's a big part of the defense. He's not able to play defense. They've had to figure it out. Hayden Schaefer comes in. Hayden Schaefer's a big part of the defense. He gets hurt. Just in George Stolley, week 1, got hurt and wasn't able to play defense. So, they've really had to continually finagle and move people around and try and find the different pieces of the puzzle to get everything aligned. And, to be able to do that so successfully and find a way to, keep a team to 14 is huge. I think it'd be very challenging for a lot of staffs to lose essentially 4 out of 11 starters on defense and find a way to do that. So, very, very proud of those guys and very proud of the guys that are in different places and having to step up into roles that either they weren't quite ready for at the start of the year or they just they're a different role than they've had. So a lot of pride to be had in that group, and hopefully they can keep going and continue to improve and keep that pressure off of the offense and off of our special teams.
Now you go into this week's Spearfish, a team sitting near the top of the standings, just one of 2 teams, or maybe the only team now that has just 1 loss in 11 AA, and a good team that, again, we're 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it was just hey, let's win the game and move on. Even the last couple of years, win a game and move on. This is not the same Spearfish team. This is a really good program that's building something really good out west.
Yeah, I think you could very easily say that they're the surprise team of the season in AA football. I think Brookings obviously is a little better than people may have thought, but I don't think that they came out of complete surprise, where I think Spearfish is a big surprise team. So, they've got a lot of ability, they got a lot of talent, they got a lot of belief right now, and that's a scary thing. So they've only got 1 loss. This is the game for them that if they win it, they feel like they can still be the 1 seed, which would be an incredible thing for that program. So I mean, we're going to get everything that we can from them because they're playing for that 1 seed. They're playing for that that favorite role, and that'll be kind of the interesting part of this as we go on. Is our guys have really had to understand and embrace not being in the favorite role, and they've got to now embrace being in that favorite role for them. So. It's just it's a different dynamic than in previous years, but at the same point in time, it's a good football team that we've got to go out and problem solve and find a way to beat.
Well, and then on top of that, this being the last home game of the regular season, and outside of some things happening, probably the last time you're on Hollister Field this year, having to go on the road to try and get to a state championship again. How important it is to be at home, one, but to be able to have this home game, this kind of a game, and to be at Hollister Field.
Yeah, I mean, it's always an important thing that we try to tell our kids that, it's important that we win our last home game for the seniors. Obviously we prefer our last home game to be 3 weeks from now. That's probably not going to be the case this year. This is probably the last one, so this is a must-win for our guys. Not in terms of the playoff picture or anything other than making sure our seniors have that memory of winning their last game on Hollister. So must win this week for us, again, due to that fact. And, and just for our fans, we haven't done as well as we'd hoped at home this year. So this is an important note for us to go out on top at home.
And then on top of that, obviously you're not looking to Douglas next week. You're not looking to the playoffs because there's still so many things to factor in before you actually know who you're going to play in the first round. And then even then, you're not looking past this week. But the excitement of get to go on the road. Obviously, you like to be in the number 1, number 2 seed and be able to host your way. But now that you're in that spot, you can embrace that opportunity to be spoiling everybody's shot at a state championship at their home field instead of being the one like, hey, they're coming here for their season to end. We can go there to try and end their season.
Yeah, and again, we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. But I think the most important part of all that is, when you're the favorite, and you're playing a home game you're supposed to win, there is a little bit more added pressure just because everyone expects you to win. You're the higher seed. And I think that'll be an interesting thing for our guys to go on because we haven't had to travel in 3 or 4 years in the playoffs. And it's a fun role and a free role. No one expects you to win, so you can go and have fun and play and be yourself. You don't have to feel that added pressure. So hopefully that's a good thing for our guys when the time comes. But like you said, there's a lot of things that are yet to be determined yet, and there could be 4 teams at 7-2 and 3 at 5-4. That would be a crazy fun playoff, but we're still 2 weeks away, and a lot of things are yet to be determined.
Before we wrap things up, I'll give you a chance. The Lions played a great football game on Sunday, which on my side of things, I'll say, well, the reason why is because they played a really bad team. I will give credit to the Lions, but there's a lot of bad things that one team did. But I'll let you gloat for a little bit.
Happy birthday, Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I hope he had a good one. I think that was a lot of fun, and I don't even know what the right word is that you can say on the radio, but it's a lot of fun to see the way they did it because I'm like, why are they running trick plays? But, for anyone that watched last year's game, they wanted to make sure Taylor Decker had an opportunity to catch a ball because when he did catch one last year, the refs decided that something illegal happened. They made sure to use Dan Skipper, the lineman, as a wide receiver to make sure that they understood that he was eligible. It was a lot of fun to see how they did it, and to see them emptying a lot of just random things. They had 3 linemen have an opportunity to catch a ball, which doesn't usually happen ever.
Unless you're blowing a team out.
Unless you're blowing a team out and just...
Or getting blown out.
And kind of want to make a point, of things. So, I think that was a pretty neat deal, the way that they did it. And the coolest thing I'll see, this is the last little gloat here, but they had Daniel Fox highlights. And he's the punter for the Lions. Jack Fox, sorry. And they had his highlight tape, and it was just him doing all of the holds for the PATs and field goals because they didn't punt.
Yeah, well, he was a good quarterback back in high school. I got to watch him play quarterback in high school way back in 2016 or whatever it was. But maybe that was 2014, about 10 years ago now. Yeah. But yeah, the Lions had a big win, and that now this is a big week for the Lions, and obviously as fun as it was for you last week, especially me being a Cowboys fan, you could rub it in my face that you beat a bad team. You're playing a good team, or at least an undefeated team this week. Your team is with the Lions and Vikings, which you you may or may not have as much fun gloating to your wife if the Lions beat the Vikings, because you might end up sleeping on the couch if you go too far, which for me, you can gloat to me and I don't even care.
Yeah, we have a really comfortable basement couch. And more than likely when the game is on, the Vikings section will be upstairs and the Lions section will be downstairs. It'll be an interesting dynamic on Sunday for sure, but it'll be fun. And like I said, worst comes to worst, it is a very comfortable couch in our basement. So many naps have been taken on there.
We'll go back to high school football. I don't want to get you in trouble anymore. We'll get you back to high school football. Biggest key here for Pierre to pick up a win against Spearfish on Friday.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Spearfish really thrives on big plays on offense. So we've really got to force them to drive the length of the field on us. Not give up any really big plays. If we can do that defensively and then offensively find a way to manufacture a couple of those, I think that'll be the pathway to victory, but it should be a good game.
Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good luck Friday. We'll talk to you in the pregame show.
Thanks, John.
That's head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
People helping people. Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do. Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Tom Moore of the Soybeans Chargers as they get set for the final regular season game. It's hard to believe that we are at the end of the regular season. The Chargers getting set for Sunshine Bible Academy on the road Friday afternoon. It's a 2:30 kick, and we'll talk about the time of that kick and everything else coming up in just a moment. But, Coach, as we welcome you back after a 2-week break, is it really that hard to believe? I mean, it really is that hard to believe that we're at the final week of the regular season already.
Yeah, it's gone by fast. It just seems like it was game 4. The first couple weeks you're kind of getting everything prepared, and it just seems so long, and now they're flying by, which makes it fun. So it's enjoyable.
Well, and the Soybeans Chargers have been a lot of fun to watch to this point. 6-1 in the season with one game left to go. Can go to 7-1 going into the playoffs with a win on Friday night. Let's go back to last Friday, or I guess Friday afternoon, but let's go back to last Friday. Harriet-Selby area, final home game of the regular season, a 50-12 win. What was the biggest takeaway, the best thing that the Soybeans Chargers did on Friday in that win?
I thought we really did a good job with defense. We eliminated a lot of the things that they've been having success with the prior few weeks. So, I thought our defense played really well in lots of aspects of it. With the line up front, we're getting better and better and better, and that's kind of been our emphasis the start of the year. We need to get better, and now we're starting to see some better play from those guys. So, that'll make everybody better if the front can the front three can take care of some stuff and let their linebackers be a little bit more free to come play. So I thought our defense played pretty well.
You guys dropped the only loss to Faulkton area two games ago. It would be 3 weeks ago, 28-8 to Faulkton area. You win 54-0 over Faith and 50-12 against Harriet-Selby area. obviously those scores are very good and very impressive. Overall, then, did you like the response that the guys had coming off the loss, both against Faith and Harriet Selby area, to kind of put that loss behind them, but really work hard at getting better as those weeks have gone on?
Yeah, I've been happy how they're responding. Falcon's a darn good football team. Some things that we focused on after that was get back to where we were, and how we were playing prior to that. And I've been pretty happy with how they played the last few weeks from responding to that loss.
Well, now Sunshine Bible Academy coming up on Friday afternoon. They're a 2-5 team. They've got 2 wins in the season, and and again, I don't want to take anything away from Sunshine Bible Academy or from years past and stuff, but other years it's kind of been the Chargers show up, get a win against Sunshine Bible Academy, and move on to the next game, whether it be at the end of the season or whenever it is. This is a different team that's playing some good football. They look like, outside of barring any kind of craziness happening, they're going to find themselves into the playoffs this year as well. And this is a good football team that you don't want to overlook on Friday.
Oh, for surely not. They've been young the last couple of years, and now they've got more seniors and juniors and sophomores playing. They got some size, and offensively they do some things where they just move the football. They grind some clock and grind some yards on you. They make you pay for doing little things based on how their offense is set up. So, defensively we have our hands full this week to take care of things and get prepped for them.
When you go to Sunshine Bible Academy, you play in the afternoon, and on a Friday afternoon, what does that change how guys get ready? Do you talk about, hey, we got to do this a little bit earlier because you're used to playing Friday night? You didn't have any Saturday afternoon games this year. Does it kind of change the preparation for maybe not so much as the week goes on, but as the day is on Friday? How much does that change playing at 2:30 in the afternoon?
Just a little bit, but nothing really for what we have to do on our end. It's still, once you get going, it's a football game. Last year we played it early, so it was in the 90s when we played. This year it was set up to be warm, but it looks like it's going to be a nice, cool afternoon, so that shouldn't have any effect of, any cramping or stuff like that. So it's kind of exciting to play in the afternoons. Kind of makes you feel a little bit of a college feel, or of a Saturday afternoon game.
Now, the other side of it is that when you guys get done, the other games for Friday night will not have played yet, and if you're looking at the standings, maybe you are now, and maybe you won't until after the game's over with on Friday. But you can kind of see who you might be playing, and it really then focuses in on one or two teams to kind of pay attention to them Friday night, and a chance to maybe start some early film where other teams have to wait until after their game is over with. You guys have a chance to maybe kind of scout out a little bit more of 9B, right, going into Friday night?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but there's so many moving pieces with those PowerPoints and stuff. Right now, everybody has a good idea of the 3 or 4 teams that they'll probably have a good chance of playing. And last year or a couple of years ago, we didn't think we'd have any chance of playing Potter County. And by the time it all settled at about 11 o'clock that night, that's how the PowerPoint shook out. We played a team that we did not think we were going to be playing, and so it's just hard to tell. Playing in the afternoon is kind of nice. You get done a little bit earlier and get home before dark, and can kind of watch the other games and whatnot as they play through. But it's good. We'll be prepped no matter if we played afternoon or at night.
And the other thing too, and you're used to it. These kids are used to it because especially those that have been playing varsity football for a couple years. That you go from Friday night to now then playing next week Thursday on that first game of the playoffs. The importance of being very sound throughout the week of preparation, because you lose that extra day of prep for that first round of the playoffs, and especially again a team that you don't necessarily know until Saturday morning, late Friday night, Saturday morning.
Yeah, for sure. So that the day it takes away, I'm happy how they set up the playoffs and stuff. Or it used to be a major grind before they kind of made everything on Thursday. So it's actually, after you get through the first round, it's set up very well to play on all those Thursdays and whatnot. But yeah, we'll lose a day next week, but we'll take care of it. And that's the nice thing of having an older group. Where last year we were young and having to work extremely hard to get things put in, and now hopefully that maturity can play off for next week, where we can back off a little bit here or there, or just take things to the field and not have to watch as much of our game and whatnot on film to kind of talk through fixes and changes. So that's one bonus of having an older crew is when you lose that first round game, it makes it a little bit easier.
Talking with Coach Tom Moore of the Soybeans Chargers, they take on Sunshine Bible Academy with a 2:30 kickoff Friday afternoon. DT Meyer will have coverage on Country 95.3. We hope to maybe get that game on YouTube on Country 95.3 Sports, but it could be kind of tough to try and get the service that's out there. But we'll get you as best coverage as possible for that game. Another thing, Coach, is injuries to this point. You know, you've been dealing with some lingering injuries going in that last game of the season. Obviously, you know, the focus is on beating Sunshine Bible Academy, but also then, you know, that focus is, hey, we're in the playoffs next week, no matter what. We got to make sure guys are, you know, we don't want to push guys too much. How do you find the balance of maybe getting guys in the game, maybe you don't put them in this game or leave them limited? How do you make sure that, you know, those guys that are dealing with those lingering injuries are ready to go for next week?
You know, it's a careful battle either way they do it. You want them to play so they get those reps and whatnot. But we've got a couple of kids that we've been banged up the last few weeks. Where I think this week we're gonna gain a couple of those kids back. So it'll be nice them playing, you know, this Friday, no matter who we're playing, just to get ready for playoffs and stuff. So, you know, we're kind of excited. We've had some kids miss the last, you know, Barber should be back in very, very shortly. So that'll be nice to add him back to our lineup. And we've had a couple other issues the last few weeks. So hopefully we'll get those guys back throughout practice this week and can play Friday. So, you know, injury-wise, hopefully we're getting on the healthier end than where we have been the last probably 3 weeks. So, you know, that's the exciting part. We're going to have some people in the lineup that we kind of started the season with, so hopefully we'll be back rolling full tilt by next week.
All right, final question. As we end it all the time, biggest key for the Soybeans Chargers to get a win Friday against Sunshine Bible Academy?
Yeah, our defensive front, just like I talked about with Harriet Selby, they played well. How their offense works, our defensive front will have to play pretty well of how they try to smash mouth things up front. So that's one focus we'll have during the week is getting them off the ball and getting them ready to play.
Well, Coach, appreciate talking to you again. It's good to have Coach's quarterback and exciting stuff as we get to the end of the season. Looking forward to talking the playoffs as we get into next week. But good luck Friday night, and we'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks for covering.
That is head coach Tom Moore of the Soybeans Chargers. We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and on the line at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes as they get set to finish out their season against Potter County on Friday night and then head into the playoffs next week Thursday for that first round. But Coach, you're coming off the bye week, and let's talk a little bit about that first. Is the benefits of that bye week, especially at week 7 of the season. You've played your 7 games, and you get that bye week right before the final game of the season. How beneficial was it for it to come at this point? How beneficial is it to come towards the end of the year too?
Yeah, it certainly helped us big time. You know, a lot of our guys, we've had one of those craziest years I've ever had as a coach. We just seems like we've had any injury, we've had it that type of season, and we during the course of the game, that Kimball game, Coach Hofstadter told me after the game we were down to 16 playable players out of our 28 on our football team. So yes, the bye came at a great time. Get some guys healed up, some bumps and bruises and that type of stuff, and hopefully recharge our batteries a little bit and heal up and get ready to go for that last regular season home game.
And a lot of times, a lot of coaches, obviously you can't pick and choose where your bye week is at, but a lot of coaches do like it towards that end of the year. And for you, like you mentioned, it was really at a good time, and it was doubly nice to have it at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was much needed, and it's too bad that some of our guys have the season-ending type of stuff that they've had, but I think it was good for everybody else, especially the rest of our guys that are having to play so much football on Friday nights, whether it be starting both ways, and then you're on the punt team, the kickoff team, the kick return team. It's just some of those guys out there, they're in great shape, but they don't get much of a break. So it's nice to give them a little time off and give them a little chance for their bodies to heal and refocus and hopefully play our best football on Friday night.
When you get Potter County, who has not picked up a win yet, their season will end on Friday. They won't be able to, even with the win, won't be able to make the playoffs. But what have you seen for them on film at 0-7?
Yeah, it's one of those things, too, that they've had some rotten injury luck as well. I know they're missing a ton of guys. They're missing a bunch of players. They're having to play some young guys at spots just like we are. So, we actually match up well with each other in that regard. And they do have a couple really good athletes that pose a very good threat. They've got a couple really good players that, would have been great players for them if everybody stayed healthy. So they're definitely – the record is 0-7. It is what it is, but at the same time, they've got some guys that, can really hurt you if you're not careful.
Yeah, and especially for you guys too. Obviously, this is a must-win game to make sure that you're in the playoffs. A win, outside of some weird craziness happening of Gregory and New Underwood beating an undefeated team and everything else. A win guarantees you into the playoffs. A loss pretty much puts you out of the playoffs. So it is right. It is basically saying to those guys, the playoff start this Friday. It is a must-win game on Friday.
Yeah, what a great opportunity for our seniors to go out on senior night and play one more time in front of the home crowd and get their names called and all that good stuff and really celebrate how successful their career has been. So it's awesome that we get to play this last regular season game at home. And like you said, we still have a shot at making the postseason. It's one of those things that I don't think we control our destiny completely. We could still win and some chaos could happen, but it's one of those things that, we've told the team, hey, if we want to keep playing, we got to win this game no matter what. We got to do what we got to do. And young guys are stepping up at spots and playing stuff and playing positions that they haven't played before. And that's kind of what happens when you've had the season that we've had as far as the injury front goes. It's, we've got guys that are playing different spots and they've had some good practice time and some good reps at it, but they'll be at that spot for the first time in a varsity game on Friday night. So, a lot can happen, but we feel confident that our kids are going to go out and play their best football.
Talking with Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. They will take on the Potter County Battlers. Final game of the regular season. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff at Ole Williamson Field. Their fourth of 4 straight home games, and obviously 5 home games overall this year, having the first game of the season and the final 4 games of the season all at home. Real quick, I'm gonna keep it on the subject of football, but kind of transition in the NFL. We haven't really talked about it too much, with you being a 49ers fan. But I think I've missed a lot of questions, or I guess maybe just a chance to make you chuckle a little bit, that unfortunately you're kind of watching your favorite team and saying, hey, I know how the coach is feeling right now because all the injuries that the 49ers had for so many weeks. You're going, I guess I can't escape it, whether it be my team that I'm coaching or my team that I root for, that there's just been a lot of injuries for this team.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because, my wife and I have had that same conversation where, she's like, oh, you're watching the Buffaloes 2.0 on Sundays. And it's like, yep, to an extent we are. But, it just goes to speak to how some things are just out of your control. And, football is a violent game and it's very physical. And I've been incredibly lucky over my career that we've never had a season quite like this one. And like us coaches were talking about it, I think the worst problem we had on the injury front last year was I think we had a rolled ankle and a kid was out for about a quarter and a half. And then he was good to go for the next week. So apparently we got 12 years worth of injuries wedged into one season, and hopefully we can put that injury luck behind us and play some good football on Friday night.
Well, and I think some of that is also what can be exciting over the next couple of weeks is that the Buffaloes haven't played and haven't been able to play their best football because you haven't been able to, and some of it you won't be 100% because of season-ending injuries too, but haven't been able to put the full number one lineup out there. And when you did at the beginning of the season, you played really well against the Hill City team until all the injuries and every bad luck thing could happen. That if guys are healthy, stay healthy over the next couple of weeks, the Stanley County team is we can start to see a lot of that potential of what the season is, and maybe even shock a team or two as it comes down to it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's been the hardest part is the coaching thing is I'm a very positive person, and I'm trying to do that. But kids are kids, man. They're getting worn down by the losing games, and then they're frustrated and they're upset, and it's one of those things that we got to remember that we still think we're a good football team. I feel like we have good players, even if we are young at some spots. I feel like they can go out and execute. But part of the deal is we've just played the creme de la creme of our conference and of our league. You look at how many games we've played. It's we've got 4 losses to the top 8 seeds in our league. It's crazy. So we've had some really high-class competition, and we've dealt with a lot of injuries, which forces some guys that might not be ready for varsity football to not only have to go play varsity football, but to have to play varsity football against some of the best teams that are out there. And, it's great experience for the future, but it makes it hard on our kids for right now. So I'm hoping that with this bye week and with some of this time off, and all of a sudden we get a couple of these kids back in their right spots, that we can go out and really, really perform to what we think we could have been before all these injuries took place.
Real quick, a couple of questions to wrap it up. Obviously, you mentioned too the seniors get to play an Ole Limpson Field one more time. What this senior class has meant to Stanley County Buffalo football over the last couple of years, and what it means for the future of Stanley County football.
Yeah, I'm just so impressed with these guys. It's hard to say coming off of 49-0 loss to Kimball, but I truly believe that Hayden Rogo and Noah Baldwin played spectacular games offensively and defensively. Both of them play on the offensive line, and then Hayden at linebacker and Noah at defensive tackle. So much so that their coaches, Kimball's coaches, really brought those guys up after the game and said they did a heck of a job. And yeah, we noticed that too. They did a fantastic job for us. Calvin struggled with an injury early in the season. He's going to be missed. His personality is going to be missed. He's a special kid. I know Quentin, this is his first year playing football this year, and he's had a blast, and he's really liked playing football for us. And, of course, Colton Brady, I can't have enough good things to say about that kid. He just does all of the right things. He was out for wrestling, out for track, came to every single summer workout we had, went to football camps. Last year was All-State honorable mention at running back. This year, he has that leg injury against Redfield and tried to gut it out for a couple games, and then he's had a couple games off here, and we're going to try to let him get back out there on Friday night against Gettysburg and try to play some football. And, your heart just aches for that kid just because you don't want anybody to be injured, let alone somebody that puts in as much time as he has. So, we've got our fingers crossed that he could play a complete game for us on Friday night and really go out in front of the home crowd on a high note for himself and get back out there and play. Like you said, the senior class is a special group. They got thrown into starting when they were freshmen and sophomores, and they've had to play a lot of football against a lot of really good teams. They've had a lot of success, and then this year they've had the opposite of that. They've had a lot of adversity, and I feel like they've really stuck with it and been a really good role models for our younger guys on not only how to act when we win games, but how to act when we lose at games too. And they've just done a great job for us.
Final question to wrap things up. Biggest key for the Stanley County Buffaloes to get the win Friday night against Potter County?
Yeah, I think with so many young guys in so many different spots, I think we just have to be assignment sound defensively, try to keep everything in front of us and make plays when we have the chances to. Look for our pass rush to be really involved. Obviously Noah Baldwin's been playing terrific, but I look for other guys, Teagan Breitag, to be able to step up and make plays. He's played well as well. And then offensively, we just got to do a better job taking care of the football. I think we're going to be in a good spot. We've got a great plan in place. We've got great guys to be able to get our athletes in space, but we just got to do a better job of holding on to that football. No fumbles, no interceptions. Let's take care of it, and let's be positive in that turnover differential at the end of the game. And if we do that, I think we're going to be in a great spot to celebrate a big-time win for Stanley County on Friday night.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good talking to you. Good luck on Friday, and we'll be talking to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
That's head coach Maxwell of the Stanley County Buffaloes. Back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Kerry Wheelhouse of the Pierre Governor volleyball team, who will be back in action on Thursday at home against the Yankton Gazelles as they get ready for that contest. And Coach, before we get to Yankton, let's go back to last week. You and kind of, I guess, overall a week and a half, because we'll go back to the Saturday game against Brandon Valley, because you were off for 2 weeks and then you come back and then take on Brandon Valley on that Saturday. And then have 3 weeks or 3 games last week, all with 2 of those 3 on the road against Huron, Harrisburg, and then at home against Aberdeen Central. Over those 4 games, what's the biggest takeaway after the 2-week break? Did you like how the team played over the 2-week break? What was the biggest takeaway from those 4 games?
Yeah, so the 2-week break was kind of a good chance for us. It was right at the halfway point for our season, so kind of gave us a chance, for the girls to have fun during homecoming, and then get back in the gym. Really worked hard that week that we leading up to Brandon Valley, kind of went back to some basics, fundamental stuff, really focusing on some of the little things with the game of volleyball, and then went to Brandon Valley, came out strong, which I felt was really good because we hadn't been starting off strong in the first half of the season. We'd kind of played catch-up in a lot of our games. So we came out strong, looked good, and then I'm not real sure what happened after that. We went to, into the second set and just kind of, I don't know if we got comfortable or thought we were doing really good, so we didn't need to make adjustments, but kind of fell apart in that second set, and then it just kind of went down from there. The girls never did give up, kept working. We threw in some different players that game, kind of show something different, and saw that some of our younger girls were ready to play, and made some changes for the following week. And then, 3 games in 1 week is a lot for our girls, but after having a week off to get ready for games, and a week of rest, I guess you can say, with the homecoming week, they were really fired up, ready to go on the court. So went to Huron, played a tough match against Huron. Excited to play them again because I think we can have a different outcome at the next one. Huron's just a tough place to play in. Even our 2 coaches that played for Pierre and played over in Huron said, we never got a win in the Huron gym. It's just a hard place to play. So looking forward to having them at home and getting that opportunity to write and kind of split that series with them. And then went down to Harrisburg and got to see the number 1 team in the state, and rightfully so. We saw a lot of the reasons why they're the number 1 team. I will say our girls came out not completely defeated, to knowing that we were going against the number 1 team, and tried to play as well as they could. Our back row played amazing and were able to dig things up that I don't think they thought they could. So it was a good game to show us that we are on the right path, that we are doing what we need to in the back row, getting that kind of stuff, and then showed us where our weak points were and what we needed to work on for our hitters. And then, came back and had a good practice on Friday and a team dinner, and so kind of got to have some lighthearted times together as a team. And that showed on Saturday with our game against Aberdeen. The girls really came out, worked on the stuff that we, had seen were our faults, both in Huron and against Harrisburg. And so, they came out and had some really close games with Aberdeen, and I think, again, we can right the ship on that one and change some things to pull out a W.
And that's the next question, or talking about, is Aberdeen Central. Yeah, it was a loss, but what you saw in that game, and 25-23, 25-19, 25-21, all within striking distance of Aberdeen Central, who is 10-4 and in the top 8 right now for the standings, is that the response from the Harrisburg loss to the Aberdeen Central game was a big one, and showed a lot of what this Pierre Governor team is capable of, especially down the stretch of this season.
Yeah, having them come back and not be defeated after Harrisburg, because that was a super tough loss. But I think they took a lot of positives out of that game, even if with the loss, is, hey, we can hang right in there. Like, we got blocks on these girls. We can dig up these hard balls, so we're doing what we need to be doing. And then, coming out against, Aberdeen, they really played well. Really, I don't feel like Aberdeen beat us. I think we beat ourselves with making a few little mistakes here and there. And so one of the things we're working on this week is just really cleaning up all of those little mistakes that are on our side of the net, so that we're not getting beat by ourselves.
And, the fact that you said, talk about Huron, and that you like the fact that you get them again here next week, Tuesday, and then also Aberdeen Central is on the schedule again to go to Aberdeen Central, is that those 2 games where you felt like you played really well and had a chance to go win, you get an easy chance of, I wouldn't say easy, no game is easy, but you get a quick chance of being able to go and do that, and being able to see, the growth of this team in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, especially against, Huron, we played really well in our third set with our backs against the wall, and I figured we could turn that around and come back and make a, reverse sweep on that one and take the last 3 games, and we kind of fell flat on that 4th set and just couldn't get our rhythm going again. So I'm really excited to be playing them, and especially playing them at home. That can give us some confidence going into the last 2 weeks of the season, and a couple harder teams when we face Brookings and go down and play Jefferson at Jefferson. So I'm looking forward to playing those 2 teams again, because I think we learned a lot from them, and the girls kind of got that confidence to see we can play with these kind of teams. And that's really the thing that we really have to work on lately, is just that confidence, knowing that we can play with them, what kind of team we do have, and for our players to believe in themselves.
Talking with Coach Carrie Wheelhouse here, the Pierre Governors. They have 6 games remaining, 3 at home and 3 on the road, and the first 3 are at home, and the last 3 are on the road. But Yankton's coming into town on Thursday. Talk a little bit about them, what you kind of expect from them coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, so Yankton's kind of in the same boat we are, kind of struggling a little bit this season in the lower half of the rankings, and so I think they're going to be an even match compared to where we are. I don't think there's anybody that, we really are too worried about on their team. I think really our focus is going to be this week on ourselves, because lately I don't believe that the other teams have been fully beating us. I mean, minus Harrisburg. I mean, Harrisburg's just, they're solid, but I don't feel like we got beat by Brandon Valley or we got beat by Huron or even Aberdeen, like we beat ourselves. So we're focusing more this week on ourselves and not what we're going to see on the other side of the net. But I think it's going to be a pretty even match, and one of those that maybe we can get the tides turned to get that W and kind of roll into the next week with the rest of our home games, and even going up to Aberdeen with some momentum.
want to talk a little bit about those home games that are coming up next week. Not so specifically about Huron O'Gorman. You'll worry about them when the time comes along. But senior night is coming up next Tuesday, and then the Dig Pink night is coming up the next Friday against O'Gorman to close out those final home games. How special of a week next week is going to be outside of the games themselves, obviously the games themselves too, but exciting of a week of having senior night and the Dig Pink night all in that 1 week on Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, it's really exciting next Tuesday to get to, highlight our 8 seniors that we have on our team, 9 seniors that we have with our foreign exchange student that also plays. So getting to highlight them, ending their career with some games at home is awesome, and really highlight, what they've done for this team, what they've accomplished over their seasons. It's going to be fun to watch those girls and get to see them get recognized on the court. And then having that Friday home game on a Friday night, no football. Football's the night before, so we get a Friday home game, which is awesome to have because normally those are, our football nights. So, and getting to do the Dig Pink night, really highlight, not only just breast cancer awareness, but cancer in general awareness, and really kind of focus on that. So we'll have some goodies for sale. We're going to have some other stuff to support. All donations that we get on Friday night are going to go to the Helmsley Center and the Avera Foundation to help support cancer patients here in the Pierre region. So we're really looking forward to that. Even going to have some hair extensions that people can put in for a $10 donation, and really kind of get that fired up in our community, because we have some pretty strong connections to Dig Pink Night. Not only is one of our coaches with Kim Byerly battling breast cancer currently, but Chloe Kaiser's mom also battled breast cancer. I had 2 aunts that battled breast cancer, and so it touches pretty close to home for all of us, and we're really excited to have that opportunity to showcase it, especially on a Friday night. So we're hoping that we get a large crowd out to see our last home game.
Absolutely. And again, talk with Coach Carrie Wheelhouse of the Pierre Governors. Take on Yankton Gazelles on Thursday. We'll have coverage starting at 6:30. First serve at 7 o'clock. And those Huron and O'Gorman games, the senior night next Tuesday, Dig Pink night on that Friday, both at 7 o'clock. We'll have coverage starting at 6:30, and then first serve at 7 o'clock for the varsity matches. Coach, before we wrap things up, final question: biggest key to a win against you're going to hear me ask this again on Thursday, but biggest key for a win against Yankton on Thursday.
Yeah, biggest key for us is just to stay in our game and clean up our mistakes. Make sure that we're doing everything we can to not have any of those little errors and play smart.
Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. It's good talking to you. Looking forward to the next 6 games left in the regular season. Looking forward to all of those, but looking forward to this first one here against the Yankton Gazelles on Thursday. We'll talk to you in the pregame Thursday night for that contest.
All right. Thanks, John.
Absolutely. That is Coach Carrie Wheelhouse of the Pierre Governors. We'll return with more Coaches Corner after this year on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota is serving the central South Dakota community and beyond with a great selection of used vehicles. Local trades and program vehicles are available. New Toyotas and new Fords are arriving and selling before they even hit the lot. So don't wait. Stop in and find out what's coming. If you've been thinking about ordering a new Ford, stop in and sit down with one of our sales specialists today. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner 3.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Now back to Coach's Corner with KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
We welcome you back inside the KCCR studios for the final time tonight, as we want to thank our coaches, Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, Tom Moore, the Sully Butte Chargers, Max Voth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, as well as also thanking Carrie Wheelhouse of the Pierre Governor volleyball team. On the way here in just a moment, we will get you out to New York for the Mets and the Dodgers, Game 3 of the NLCS. Tomorrow night, we've got Pierre Governor Volleyball as they take on the Yankton Gazelles, coverage at 6:30 and first serve at 7 o'clock. Will be followed by Thursday night football between the Broncos and Saints. We'll join that in progress. And then on Friday, we've got Pierre Governor Football for you as the host of Spearfish Spartans. Coverage, again, will be at 6:30, and kickoff will be at 7 o'clock, again, here on KCCR. And you can watch those games on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We've got a couple of good college football games between Alabama and Tennessee and Georgia and Texas on the way on Saturday, and then 3 NFL games as we normally do on Sunday, all coming up this weekend here on KCCR. We'll be back next week as we'll be talking some state invites with the cross-country team getting ready for their state to meet. We'll be talking that. We'll be talking playoffs as we get into the playoffs for football as well. That's all on the way next week, Wednesday. Same time, same place, right here on KCCR, 5:30 to 6:30. And, of course, you can go back and watch these shows and listen to them on YouTube at KCCR Sports. That will wrap it up for Coach's Corner on the night tonight. We'll send you out to New York for the Mets and the Dodgers. Have a good rest of your nights.